So let's all find our way to a comfortably seated position, and you'll see that I'm choosing to sit up onto a pillow, a little Zafu pillow. And by propping up the pelvis, it makes it just more comfortable to sit. It helps to lift up the heart a little bit. It gives there a little more space for the ankles and the knees to find some ease. And then I recommend using pillows or blocks or rolled up blankets, whatever it may be, at hand to create some support for yourself. So that the knees are happy. And I'll also invite you to choose alternate forms of sitting. So you may choose to switch it up and maybe even put a pillow behind your knees and sit like this in hero, or with even an extra bit of seating. Maybe that makes more sense to you in your hips and your low back and your knees. So please feel free to invite some creativity and extra love and attention. Hi, Krista. Welcome. So we'll all make our way toward that comfortable seated position. I'll mute everybody. And I'm going to ring my gong as a way of just kind of shifting gears and transitioning. So I invite you to just close your eyes if you like, or set your gaze on one spot, softly, maybe looking towards the ground in front of you, maybe, but allow your attention to be drawn inward. Allow your hands to drop to your knees, maybe even come to your chest, your belly, whatever feels grounding and comfortable for you. And allow the vibration and sound of the gong to be a welcoming reminder of the way that Mother Earth is holding you in this moment. Bring our palms together and rest our chin towards our chest. And take a few breaths, filling the back of the neck with your breath, inviting the shoulders to relax, and just filling the head brain towards the heart brain for a moment. Inviting any personal intention that you may want to set for your practice or your day or your week. And when you're ready, interlacing your fingers and pressing your palms straight forward, continuing to breathe deeply, we'll reach our hands towards the center of our virtual circle. And as we press the palms forward, we'll let the heart space gently pull backwards so that we're allowing the shoulder blades to separate. And we're directing the breath into the back of the lungs. Taking some time here to pay attention to the sound and sensation of the breath. On an in-breath, let's reach the arms, the palms up towards the ceiling. The elbows might need to bend here. Honor your shoulders. Open the armpits. Exhale, press the palms forward again. Let the heart space move back. And let's just flow. Inhale, lift the heart, open the armpits, press the palms towards the ceiling. Exhale, reach the palms forward, draw the heart back, let the gaze come towards the mat. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, reaching forward. Just one more breath here. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, reaching forward. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale, draw the hands to the space behind the head. So maybe they continue to be interlaced, palms cupping the back of your skull. Maybe there's a different arrangement that makes more sense for you in your hands. Allow the shoulders to relax away from the ears. Settle into your hammock. And then draw the elbows back away from the ears, pressing the elbows towards the fabric of your hammock, like you're trying to create some space there. Open up. And then exhale, let the hammock curl you into a little ball. Draw the elbows towards each other and the chin gently towards the chest. Inhale, open it back up again. Press the elbows away and exhale, draw the elbows in. And just continue to move at whatever range of motion feels good to you. And that range of motion does not have to include anything like a stretch or a strain. You can feel free to just hang out in the range of motion that feels safe, easy, relaxed, continuing to flow with the breath, moving the elbows open on the in-breath and curling the elbows together on the out-breath. When it feels right to you, curl the elbows together, exhaling, and then hold this position while you continue to breathe. Inviting the breath into the back of the neck. Relax the shoulders a little bit more. Draw the elbows towards each other. And when it feels complete for you, relax the elbows and the wrists down into your lap. The palms are open. The skull is dropping forward. The shoulders are falling into neutral away from the ears. We'll start to roll the right ear towards the right shoulder on an inhale. And on an exhale, we'll drop the chin towards the chest. And then on an inhale, we'll roll the left ear towards the left shoulder. And exhaling, we'll drop the chin towards the chest. And we can just continue to roll the head gently, ear to shoulder on the in-breath, chin to chest on the out-breath. Relax the shoulders and allow them to move naturally in response to the weight of the cranium. And again, invite this movement to be easy. There's no need to strain or push or pull. Just allowing the weight of the cranium to roll around. Maybe you'll want to explore the back space and allow for a full rotation. Maybe you prefer to avoid the back space for whatever reason. It's okay. Just continue to allow for natural movement in your head and neck, surrendering the weight of the skull and exploring sensations and observing the breath. Relaxed in the groins, the pelvis, the leg bones heavy, the arm bones heavy. If you found yourself in a pattern, reverse it, if possible. And eventually invite the crown of the head to come back to a neutral position. And take a few moments to simply observe the sensations in the neck, resting the eyes softly on one point or closing them all together, and observing sensations in the neck and the spine, the flow of the breath. What feels right to you? We're going to begin to move into some cat-cow motion. So I'm going to invite you to stay seated if you prefer to remain off of your wrists or your knees. And you can start to invite the heart space to shift forward on the in-breath and back on the out-breath. At any point in time, if you're inclined to come onto your hands and knees, feel free to do so. And again, feel free to stay seated. Inhaling, heart pulls forward. Exhaling, heart draws back. And as we invite this movement of the heart, we observe the way the spine responds naturally. We're not trying to make anything in particular happen. We're just allowing. But if anything, we may be allowing the shoulders to sort of move out of the way of the heart. So if the heart's moving backwards, we might be letting the shoulders stay forward. And if the heart's moving forward, we might be inviting the shoulders to stay back. And allowing for the pelvis to naturally rock in response to this movement. And again, give yourself permission to keep this movement as subtle as you like. There's no need to push or strain. This movement is just as effective if done in a subtle, mindful, easy fashion, inviting the breath to match the movement. And again, we'll invite some variations. So if you're feeling inclined to come onto your hands and knees, go for it. If you're feeling inclined to stay seated, go for it. If you're ready to move the heart space around into different positions to the sides and the other angles, go for it. Allow for whatever feels exactly right to you in your body, in this breath, in this moment. Allow your gaze to be soft or your eyes to be closed completely. Just focusing on the sound and sensation of the breath. The sensation of the movement of the spine. Reversing any pattern you may have found yourself exploring. Noticing the connection of breath to movement. Maybe noticing how you're using your hands against your knees or the earth. And once again, I'll invite you to allow for the movement to become more and more subtle until you find yourself experiencing something that feels like a neutral spine with the crown atop the head, atop the spine, crown of the head floating upward. take another moment to observe the sensations in the spine as you find this sense of alignment and recognize that there's always a subtle movement. It's natural in the body. Spine is an S curve naturally, and that is a reminder that there's always some movement. And so we can keep this movement, this flexibility of the spine being explored in a camel pose or ustrasana. So you might want to stay seated, in which case you place your palms right underneath your sit bones and invite a upward facing heart in camel pose, seated. Or maybe you're ready to come onto your knees and take a camel pose on your knees, which you can do with some cushioning underneath your knees, and maybe allow for some variations. So if you happen to have blocks, you can use your blocks on either side of your legs, placing your fingertips on your blocks and using that as a point of leverage from which to lift the heart. So by using the blocks, it's giving me some more space in the shoulders. If we're using our hands at the back of the pelvis, this can be very challenging for our range of motion in our shoulders. So lowering the hands to the lower part of the pelvis, or placing the hands on blocks, is a great way of accessing this upward energy for the heart while getting the shoulders out of the way and letting them fall back in a way that feels spacious and safe for you. So just a few more breaths here, exploring any variation of ustrasana that you may be comfortable exploring. Maybe you're familiar with the pose and you have other variations that you've practiced before. Maybe you want to alternate hands with one supporting and one reaching to the sky, or bringing your palms to your heart space. Whatever, feel free to play a little bit. Keep your breath the focus of your energy, your attention, your pelvis neutral, your heart high, your shoulders falling out of the way, your neck neutral. So you'll notice my chin is dropping towards the notch at the base of my throat. My gaze is straight forward. Whenever you're feeling complete in this ustrasana, back bending exploration, let's take a forward fold, a melt into a supported child pose. So here, even if you're a little nervous with your knees, you should be able to be comfortable by placing a prop behind your knee joints, in addition to under the knees, cushioning under the knees. And then I'm going to recommend a little something underneath your heart space and something perhaps to collect your forehead. Now, this may look like a lot of props to you, but it actually can make a big difference in your experience with the pose, supporting the bones and the joints so that you're able to relax the muscles for real. If we don't have the little bit of extra support underneath some of these heavy parts of the body, it's hard to convince those ligaments and muscles to relax. Nice job, everybody. Drop in a little bit more heavily here. I'm going to go back to bringing in some sound and invite you to focus on the breath and the invitation to move the breath towards the backside of the body. So taking 3 more deep breaths here. Allow the breath to fall from the mouth. You might even force a yawn, stick out your tongue, make a funny face, or any sound at all, remembering that you're muted. Exhaling completely. And when you're feeling ready, gently bringing some movement back into your fingers, some action against the earth with your hands, maybe a gentle rock of your forehead on your prop before you lift your cranium, and begin to transition here. So we'll start to come up, and let's take a stretch in a downward facing dog. So go ahead and take your hands flat to the earth, tuck your toes, push into your hands and lift your hips. Push into your hands and your feet and lift your hips. Great. Fantastic. Now, I'm going to invite everybody to bend your knees and drop your head. Bend your knees, but keep your knees from the floor. So your knees are still off the floor, but bend the knees a little bit and drop your head a little heavier so that your gaze is looking towards the back of your mat. Let go in the neck and push with your hands and use your leg strength to pull your pelvis even further back, away from your fingertips. Nice work, everybody. So taking just another big breath here in your downward facing dog. And then go ahead and walk your feet towards your hands. Let your feet come forward and bend your knees a lot. Walk your hands then towards the legs and around your legs. Your arms are going to wrap around your legs. You're going to give yourself a hug. So you're bending your knees a lot and you're resting your belly onto your thighs, and you're going to drop the weight of your skull towards the earth here. Push into the earth with your big toes. Wiggle your toes around. Activate your feet. Turn your head from side to side. Relax your neck. Let your gaze go to the wall behind you. Nice work, everybody. Place your hands in front of your shin bones. Press away with your hands. Lengthen your arms and take a flat back position. Lengthen the spine with the knees soft. So we don't want to strain or strain or stress our hamstrings. So keep those knees soft here. On an exhale, simply release the spine and keep the knees bending, dropping the head. Inhale, come back to your flat back position. Push into your big toes. Pull the heart forward, draw the shoulders away from the ears, and on the exhale, release back down again. Forward folding, head heavy. Fabulous. One more time. Inhale, press away. Use your hands against your leg bones, lengthen the spine, draw the shoulders back and the heart forward. Take a moment to notice your neck. Keeping the knees soft, draw the heart forward, but keep your gaze at the mat, the back of the neck open, spacious. On an exhale, release back down. One more time, full surrender. Nice work. On an inhale, we're going to roll all the way up to stand. Take your time. Push into your feet. Let your arms dangle. Take your time engaging the core and rounding up through the spine. I'll invite you to come all the way to stand. Bring your hands all the way overhead. And then on an exhale, we're going to swan dive forward again. Give yourself a hug. Inhale, press away, find your flat back position. Exhale, release back down, drop the head. Inhale, rounding the spine, push into your feet. Let the arms dangle, the head is heavy. We're slowly rounding up through the spine. We're pushing into our feet. We're gonna reach the arms all the way overhead, standing tall, all the way up, Utthita Tadasana, and then exhaling one more time, swan diving forward. Coming from this tall position, our knees will bend as we sweep the arms back around and give ourselves a hug. Inhale to find a flat back position. Exhale to release back down. Inhaling, rounding up, big toes pressing. Take your time. It's like giving yourself a spinal massage here. The arms are going to come all the way up once again. And on an exhale now, the right arm's going to fall to the side. The left arm stretches up. Standing crescent. Relax the pelvis. Let the tailbone drop. Stretch down into the earth with the left foot. Reach up with the left arm. Big stretch through the left side body. You might even let the head drop to the right. Right ear heavy to the right shoulder. Right arm dropping like a wet noodle. On an inhale, push into the earth with both feet. Reach up with both arms. Take a moment, an extra breath, and when you're exhaling, the left arm drops to your side. The right arm stretches up and over. Again, the right foot pushing into the earth, the right arm reaching up to the sky. The head might be falling to the left. That left arm dropping like a wet noodle. Breathing deeply into that right lung. When it feels complete for you, both feet pressing, arms stretching overhead, big reach overhead on an exhale. We're gonna swan dive once again. Bend the knees, give yourself a hug, wrap the arms around the legs. Inhale, find your flat back position. Exhale, this time, place your hands back on the mat. Walk your feet back, your hands forward as needed. Find your downward facing dog one more time. Knees bending, arms lengthening, head heavy. Open up those armpits. Press the mat forward with your fingers. Draw the pelvis back with leg strength. Beautiful work, everybody. Drop the knees to the earth. And we're going to now take ourselves into a seated position. So swing your legs around, stretch the legs forward. I'm going to adjust my screen again. And we're going to sit with our legs extended forward in Paschimottanasana. Now, most of us are going to be best off sitting on a pillow or a folded blanket. So consider propping your pelvis with your legs extended forward. Your toes are flexed. You're going to stretch your arms overhead with a big breath in. You might even lean back ever so slightly in order to feel the core engage. You'll feel everything connect. And then exhale, reach the heart forward, soften the knees as needed, and extend the fingertips towards the toes. Go ahead and rounding the spine, roll back up on the next inhale. Let the arms extend back up overhead, invite that subtle lean back if you like, and then exhale, bring it on forward again. So consider a few of these gentle flowing motions coming in and out of Paschimottanasana. And if it feels better to you, feel free to rest in a held variation of Paschimottanasana. If your knees are bending here, which is most of us, consider placing a pillow or rolled up blanket under your knees so that the back side of your legs are supported. Honor your body. The best scenario for this pose is when we feel that we can push down with the backs of our legs into the earth or into whatever prop we may be using. So this creates this downward action with the bones, gives us that opportunity. And that's really the safest way for us to open up and stretch our muscles. Just a few more breaths here in any variation of this pose that's working for you, honoring your body wisdom, inviting the belly button to pull towards the back of the heart with each exhale. Nice work, everybody. Stay with this and your breath. And when it feels complete to you, carefully round up through the spine. At this point, I'm going to invite you to take any props that you were working with underneath your legs or your pelvis and set them up now to support your spine, but you can put them in front of you, setting them up the way that you think that is going to make sense. And then you can rotate your whole body to release onto it. So consider what's most graceful and easy for yourself, avoiding torque, avoiding unnecessary roughness in our attempt to be mindful. So I'm suggesting that you're using something that's going to provide support for your spine, and that includes your head and your neck. So when you lay back, your pelvis is probably resting on the mat or maybe on a folded blanket, but this prop is supporting the entirety of your spine and your head so that there's no strain in your neck. Your spine is totally held up at whatever level is comfortable for you so that your arms can fall open to your side. The whole invitation here is to open the front of the shoulders and to open the pelvis, the hips. So we're going to let the knees fall open as well and touch the soles of the feet together and use our blocks or other pillows or blankets or rolled up whatever, what have yous, to collect your knees or your thighs. So this is a nice big open heart lotus pose. You can imagine your arms and your knees falling open like the petals of a lotus flower blossoming in the summer sun. And invite yourself to drop into the fullness of your breath, the weight of your bones, and allow for a softness across the forehead, the space of the eyebrows, the forehead, the eyeballs softening. Inviting your awareness to the breath, to the space of the heart, the dance of the breath around the heart space. Taking your time, inviting the subtlest of movement into the fingertips, into the fingers, the subtlest of movement, noticing the joints of the fingers, noticing the fingers. Inviting awareness to the toes and bringing the subtlest of movement to the toes. Noticing whatever articulation you might find in the toes. Continue to activate the feet and direct energy down into the earth through the soles of the feet so that you can guide the knees together. Soles of the feet end up flat on the mat and the knees coming towards each other in a bent position. And we can guide our hands together, bringing them perhaps to the heart space for just a moment, or to the belly, to the core in some way, touching in. And then allow yourself to roll off of your prop in a way that gives you an easy movement to push the prop out of the way, off of your mat. And release yourself gently and carefully back onto your spine, knees coming towards your chest. So we're laying onto our spine, knees coming towards our chest. That's it. Laying back now, props being pushed out of the way. And let's hold our knees towards our chest and slide our fingertips behind the knee joints and just be present in what's coming up in the body in this moment. Breathing deeply, filling the backside of the body with the breath, feeling the backside of the body expand against the earth with each breath. Perhaps it feels natural to create a subtle rocking motion. Perhaps it feels natural to allow the knees to ultimately start to fall open and away from each other into a happy baby. So allow this happy baby movement to be something that may not have a particular form. It may be more about some playful movement versus a particular form. The idea being to invite the knees to fall towards the armpits. Maybe the hands are coming behind the knee joints or the calf muscles. I like to keep my elbows at my sides on the mat so that my shoulders are relaxed. So the invitation here is to give yourself permission to move into the hips and the groins, inviting the knees to fall open and maybe all around. Maybe you'll find that it's more satisfying to move the knees around in space a little bit. But just go from the perspective of a happy baby hanging out on its back, just playing with the wonder of its own body. And feel free to keep this super subtle. Again, there's no need to push or strain. This movement doesn't need to be big to be effective. What's effective is being present in whatever movement you're exploring. noticing the connection between your breath and your movement. And noticing where you might be able to surrender unnecessary muscular tension with each exhale. So let's hang out with that intention for just a few more breaths, releasing unnecessary muscular tension with each exhale. Returning to some softness in the forehead, the jaw, scalp, heavy skull, heavy tailbone. Nice surrendering, everybody. Good work. Take your time now transitioning from here without any sense of urgency. Feel free to hang out a little longer. We're going to make our way towards some more exploration in the hips, working with a windshield wiper motion. So you'll encourage the knees to come back towards each other at some point. You might support the knees with your hands as you deliver the toes and the feet to the earth one at a time. You might keep the knees touching and open the feet away from each other. And you might then open the arms away from each other, perhaps even overhead, with the hands resting on a prop or whatever makes it comfortable and right to you. So a big opening and surrender of the weight of the arm bones to the earth. And then an invitation to draw the leg bones slowly and carefully from side to side. We individuate the movement, taking the top knee up and open away from the other knee, letting the pelvis start to rock because of the movement of that first knee. And it's actually the pelvis that pulls the second knee over. So we can slow the movement down and take 1 or 2 or even 3 breaths with each transition, whatever makes sense to you. Just be mindful, allowing for this transition to be weighted, surrendering to gravity, and allowing for both an internal and an external exploration in these hips, accessing the hip flexors, the quadriceps, the psoas. You might even like to rotate the nose in the opposite direction from the knees. So ultimately, your low back is going to say, it's time for the knees to come to the chest. And so invite the hands to drag on down towards the knees and scoop those knees up in towards the chest. Sliding the fingers under the knee joints and loving your knees and loving your low back by resting in stillness or perhaps some very subtle movement, however it feels right to you in this moment. Breathing deeply into the low back, breathing deeply into the pelvic bowl. Here, I'm going to invite you to transition into your final pose of Shavasana, which is laying on your back. And I'll invite you to do so, but you may feel like your body needs a final little twist, or you may be inclined to set yourself up with your legs onto a chair or a couch or a bed or even up onto a wall. So, this is your minute or so to take care of yourself and to listen to your body wisdom. Maybe there's some other movement that your body is craving. Go for it. And maybe you would like to transition onto a prop for Shavasana so that you can enjoy some elevation in your legs. So if you want to use a wall, you'll want to adjust your pelvis nice and close to the wall and let the legs be straight up the wall. But it might be easier to get yourself close to a chair or a couch, in which case your lower leg bones can be supported with your knees over your hips. So do what's easy and natural and intuitive for you right now, and make your way into this final pose of Shavasana. Once again, I'm going to use my gong to invite Mother Earth's rumble to remind you just how perfectly you're held in this moment, and to deepen your attention to the sensations in your body and the flow of your breath. Perhaps you have time and space in your day to remain in Shavasana. If that's the case, please feel free to do so. If you're feeling ready to transition, invite that slow reanimation in your fingers and your toes. Allow the knees to come back towards the chest. And gently roll your way toward a seated position with compassion and curiosity. We can bring our palms together to our heart space. Rest our chin towards our chest. Take another breath into the back of the neck. And acknowledge your own inner wisdom with gratitude for its guidance to this very point in time and space. May the long time sun shine upon you. May all love surround you. And may the pure light within guide you all the way on. Namaste. Thank you all so very much for being here now.